Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott Wave update for Dogwifhat. Now, just for a quick recap, out on the daily, since our significant low at 6.62 cents, we had a nice clean 5-wave impulse to the upside. If you can see, we came a little shy on the larger 1-2 for our third wave target in blue. Came up to the 1.382, just past that. And our fifth came just shy of the 1.618, basically right there. Now, if you look at our green Fibonacci targets for our 5 waves in our third, we did hit extensions for our third wave just past the 1.618 and right about the 2.382, just past that for our fifth. So this wave looks complete as a 5-wave pattern. Our peak RSI is the third of the third, most volume. We then got divergence between our third and the fifth in the third, and divergence between our larger third and fifth. So everything pans out as it should for a impulse. Now this area has just been dragging on. I have a couple different scenarios, but I actually wanted to discuss corrections a little bit. So I have this as 3 waves, double zigzag. Now it's one of the most troublesome areas to try and find a high probability trade setup. Reason being, this can be part of so many patterns. Let's talk about a few. So first pattern, where we have 3 waves, 3 waves, 3 waves, can turn into a diagonal. Remember, we're right here in these patterns. That can be a diagonal. So we can get one more low, which ends up being a wave 1 or a wave A or a WXYXZ, which is a rare correction. That's last case scenario for me, WXYXZ. What else can it be? What else starts with a double zigzag? Well, that can be an A wave and a flat. All right, 335. What else can be a double zigzag? Well, it can be a combination as well as a WXY, and you can be complete at this level. But you have to look at the price action after that. So if this is our WXY, what's going on here? We're just ranging, right? So I'll give you a few examples of what I think are most likely to happen. Last example, I gave a zigzag where we're coming down like this to complete our wave A or wave 1. We didn't get that. I also suggested that we could just come up here for one more high, turn into an X wave, and then make our fifth wave. So knowing all those options I showed you, it's the worst pattern for high probability trade setups because it can do so much, right? And you have to wait and see the price action fill out and create a pattern in order to trade it with high probability and get really good risk rewards on your trade setups. Just a little note, I will not take a trade usually unless it's 3-to-1 plus, or I'm very confident on a trade setup for like a scalp down on like the 3 to 15 minute charts, right? Just for one move only. That's kind of when I'll go for less than 3-to-1. But looking at this zone here, let's get this off the screen for a minute. If we just zoom in on this zone, ask yourself, what do you see, right? I see a 3-wave. Originally, I counted this as a 5-wave. It still can be a 5-wave, but it also qualifies. If we go down to the smaller time frames, I was looking at this. This can be 5 waves here. And if it is 5 waves, does it qualify as a 3-wave pattern? We need the minimum of the 618. You can see it does. So as much as this looks like This looks like a 5-wave pattern out on the 4-hour. It can be counted both ways, unfortunately. So this can also be an ABC. It can be a 5-wave or an ABC. I was expecting it to come down here because I thought it was more high probable to be a 5-wave than a 3-wave, right? So I was looking for that 5th wave down. Can it still be a 5-wave? Yes. We don't invalidate this as a 5-wave till we break this previous high. This can still turn into a zigzag, although I would say unlikely because we're so deep. We're well past the 618 retracement of the move to the downside. Even past the 786, I think. Yeah. So although technically valid, as soon as we pass that 618, probability shift, right? Use the 618 for your probability shifts. It's the most useful tool to figure out that sort of setup. I can talk about that for a long time, but not for this video. So, if this can be a 3-wave, does this qualify? I would qualify this more as a flat. So in order to be a flat pattern, we need to hit at least the 90% retracement, which we have done of this wave here. So what I propose is that this is going to be, this is a 3-wave, this is a B wave or an X wave, and this can also be a flat. So we got a zigzag and a flat as a WXY. So we're looking for this to complete 5 waves to the upside. After this 5 waves to the upside, we'll have to see the reaction, but that can actually be the top of that 4th wave, and we get our 3-wave move to complete. So you can see I'm waiting for that 4th wave just to see a reaction. I'm not just trading short blindly into that. I want to see the reaction. Now, if after you break this high, and we have a completed correction here, this has to be labeled as a WXY, as a flat pattern. We have a zigzag and most likely a flat. So just looking for 5 waves here in this C wave of this final move, right? So if you're trying to trade this, not financial advice, just what I would do is I'd want to see 5 waves move down in this A wave. Clean 5, follows all the rules, guidelines. Then wait for a 3-wave sideways correction, and this is when I'd take the trade just for that C wave, targeting a 1-to-1. It would look something like this, right? Might even tuck that up tighter. Yeah, I'd probably go to like the 786, not exactly the high, just to make sure I get my 3-to-1. But everybody trades different. I tend to be a little tighter with my stops, but some people like the high. But it depends, again, solely on this pattern that plays out. If I don't get this exact move I want to see, why am I trading it, right? So that was just something I wanted to discuss there. So in the diagonal scenario, expecting this to pop, make a new high, grab those short stops, and then reverse back down. This is very difficult to make as a bottom. You can see we have so many close touches, but we didn't make a new low. So I'm very weary of this pattern, and you should be as well if you trade Elliott wave. Okay, so that's my first scenario. Second scenario is very similar. This would be a completed correction. Break this high, this would be a completed correction as a WXYXZ, but it does mimic that diagonal exactly the same, right? Be a triple zigzag, but it could also be a wave 1, could be a wave A. So this is where these 3-wave patterns can become difficult, and it's more important to watch the reaction in areas to find a high probability trade setup. Third option is a flat. So we have a 3, 3, looking for a B wave, which can become very complex. I've mentioned this to you guys before, very complex areas to trade. It's best to trade either as low as you can to the A wave, or if you're going to short, as high as you can in the B wave. Very difficult to trade in the middle of this unless you're going to hold all the way through with stops at the low. Because what can happen is this becomes a 3-wave move. That can be a W on the larger trend. And we get something like a X wave, WX, and then we get another move to the upside like this. It can be very, very choppy. Just 3-wave patterns connected, right? This can also come up, make even like a triangle. And we get a move to the upside in 3 as well. These are all going to be 3s. You can come up, make a flat, come up, right? It's a very difficult area to trade in, the B waves. So in this situation, if I was looking for a trade setup, I would wait and I'd want to see a correction like an ABC where all the rules and guidelines follow. We're at important pivot area like a 50 and a 618. And I have a 1-to-1. All these things matter, right? If I have an ABC and 5 waves in the C, I want to go down to the smaller time frame, see if I have divergence between my 3rd and the 5th. All these factors playing out before I can justify taking a trade. So if I did get something like that, nice sideways consolidation, trade setup would be something like this. I'd want the stop at the low, targeting at least the 90%, because a B wave must retrace at least 90% to be considered a flat. So that would be a trade I'd look for. Again, all these factors have to happen before I get into it. I can't just assume it's going to happen. That's how you really screw yourself over. You just assume it's going to do this. I have no idea what it's going to do, but once I see the patterns in a high probability setup, then I can take it. So just be patient, right? Even this, you'd say, okay, you said it's going to go up from here and break this high, right? It doesn't have to do that. That's the issue with the 3-wave patterns. It doesn't have to do this. Remember, this could be a 5-wave move. Could be. So this could be ABC. This could be a 5-wave move. This could be an ABC as a flat. And then we come down. And then we come up and make 5 waves like this. This is how you get destroyed. And what do you see here? All that is an A, is a zigzag, A, B, C, as a B wave, and then our 5 waves up as a C wave, and a flat, right? 3, 3, 5. So nothing says it has to pop up here. That's just what I want to see to get our diagonal or our Z wave, or come up and get our sideways move as a W to the upside. So you just really have to pay attention, and when these setups become available, then you take them. This is complete no man's land. So anyways, I hope that was helpful. Again, looking for either a flat, and the other thing with this flat is this can keep extending up, similar to this move here. There is an example of a W or an X wave. That's why it's so important to get like at the lows. You see like this move, stop at the low and just ride it till it gets to where you expect it to go. But B waves as well, this can even get extended even more, turn into something larger, can also make new highs above the 5, the 1.236, 1.382. That's the likely area for our pivot in a B wave where this looks like 3 waves. And then we look for our C wave to the downside, and then we can finally make new highs. So I'm tracking all these out. I don't have a clear answer. There's no clear trade setup. And I don't have a bias currently, right? We have to look at the chart objectively. And until we can conclude a bias based on a wave count, we have to wait and let it play out, right? Don't FOMO in this. This isn't going to take off. You see how deep this comes in. Just looking for a one-to-one here. Just looking for this and then see what happens. Looking for this and then see what happens. All right. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. That was Dogwifhat, more of an Elliott wave discussion, but flat looking for. In that scenario, it comes up to the 90%. Diagonal I'm looking for, just a break of the previous high reversal. Also that WXY, XZ. So I would avoid this area, but that's just me. But I will be tracking this. I know there's a lot of people that follow this coin. And if there's a good trade set up, I'll let you know. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching.